Some animals mimic a leaf, a branch, a stone. This one mimics an entire shoreline. The Cabinet of Impossible Life, File 001, The False Shore. At first glance, it is only a beach. The trouble begins when the beach senses you. At first, the case amounts to a few notes. A gray beach, reliable witnesses certain they saw something, and then nothing. The markers are not searching for a silhouette, but for a boundary, the precise point where the landscape begins to respond. Along that line, the sand changes texture. It becomes smooth, pinkish, almost too clean for a shore battered by the sea. Then a footprint sinks, not quickly, not like water, but as if the surface hesitates before closing again. In slow motion, the process becomes clear. The grains realign, the furrow pales, and the shoreline regains its skin. What vanished was not swept away. It was repaired. At that moment, the beach stops being the scene of the investigation. It becomes the suspect. The sample reaches the cabinet unnamed. We cannot yet tell whether it came from an animal, an organ, or the coast itself. On the table, the fragment retains something of its shore, moisture, tension, a way of never seeming entirely inert. Under glass, it barely moves, but a trap does not keep still like a stone. When the lamp warms one corner, the surface ripples. A tiny response, but a response nonetheless. Under the microscope, the grains lose their innocence. They pivot almost imperceptibly, like tiny sensors turning towards weight, salt, and moisture. What we called camouflage may be an entire skin built to pass for ground. The alternative explanations now seem too small. Algae, silt, gas, mollusk. None can explain a surface that repairs itself. A rule emerges. Something that erases a mark may be a phenomenon. Something that heals one requires a body. The dissection does not open an animal hidden beneath the beach. It opens the beach itself. A few centimeters down, scenery becomes anatomy. A skin of sand, saltwater channels, humid chambers. Nothing outlines an upright animal. Everything spreads outwards, like a body flattened until it becomes a place. Even the pools change function. Some breathe for a few minutes, then close again when the tide returns. The system survives by disappearing, drinking the tide, holding the water, hiding its pores. Its silhouette is not an animal's. It is a stretch of coast, precise enough to deceive a walker. To feed, the false shore pursues nothing. It waits for the world to settle in the right place. It prepares a soft, warm, stable patch. Nothing alarming, exactly where a small animal might choose to rest. The trap works, because it looks like a place to rest. Thermal imaging reveals the lure. Against the cold, one patch retains a faint warmth, not a signal, an invitation. Here, the probe takes the place of prey. It asks a simple question. What does the beach do when weight is placed upon it? It does not bite. It yields. It opens, and clear saliva wells up between the grains. The response follows not the object's shape, but its weight. This is where the case turns. The false shore need not identify its prey. It only needs to feel that it stays. Below, a shallow chamber receives what the surface has trapped. The crab provides the scale. No mouth, no pursuit. Only a shoreline working beneath the surface. Then comes the most important step for a predator that must remain invisible: becoming ordinary again. It leaves no scene behind, only an absence too clean. The grains return to place, the edges smooth over, and the evidence seals itself away. That is how the animal escapes notice. It never crosses the landscape. It restores it. Across the bay, the case suddenly expands. The cabinet's fragment may be only its outer edge. Distant patches respond together, as if one tension runs beneath the entire shore. Individual, colony, vast organ. None of these words fits it yet. The cabinet keeps the maps because every measurement makes the animal harder to define. At its outer limits, some edges swell into buds. No longer mere scars. They may be beginnings. The tide tears them free without killing them. Farther along, a fragment anchors, flattens, and matches the color of the place. The false shore does not travel like an animal. It begins again elsewhere, as another beach. The frustrating part is this. The cabinet does not hold the false shore, only a piece that refuses to die. Inside the display case, far from its bay, it retains enough moisture to respond to salt, heat, and touch. A pinch of salt is enough. The skin contracts, barely, but enough to rule out an inert sample. We do not know where the body begins or ends. Only that part of the shore is still alive. Outside, the sign can become almost nothing. A smoother patch, a pink too clean, an edge too calm. The danger is not what rises from the sand, but realizing too late that the sand has sensed you. In this drawer, the cabinet does not preserve a complete animal. It preserves something more disturbing, proof that a shoreline can be alive.